Okay, cool. Okay. Because that was a fiasco the other day, and I thought that everyone was clear with it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, Matthew,
You're doing what? You're doing what?
I'm recording your lame ass because somebody set this up to be a non-recorded hangout. Damn it, there will be evidence. It will be uploaded eventually as an unlisted video so people can do whatever the hell they want with it.
Okay.
Anyway. But yeah, Matt was driving me absolutely nuts because, of course, he's trying to run with Kalam, which, as far as I'm concerned, just doesn't work. And he's sitting there arguing straight philosophy. And well, yes, but if in this case it's 100%, it's 100% accurate. And I'm like, well, we can't get to 100% accurate on anything. We're humans. We're always going to be restricted to our perspectives. And like 4 people come in and say, well, say basically exactly what I said, and he's like, yes, I agree with you, but I disagree with heathens. And they're like, no, we're telling you that's what heathens is saying. He's like, yes, but I disagree with heathens. It's like, you fucking retard.
I think I read that somewhere.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, drove me nuts.
I don't see what's logical about believing the universe has no supernatural cause. I know that sounds like an extreme position, but I guess the truth is extreme. The truth is often offensive or extreme to anybody who doesn't want to believe it. So I would say it's only logical that the universe came from a supernatural cause. I have never heard anybody give me a plausible argument.
Before you go further, can you define supernatural, please?
For how the universe could be a product of naturalistic causes. What I say supernatural is that which is outside of time, energy, space, and matter, not part of the universe, something inside it.
Okay. I think part of the problem, Neff, is there's the slipping in. Like I kind of get your point that if the universe doesn't exist and then somehow something causes it to exist, or there's a start or something, there must be something outside of what we're calling the universe that's behind all that. But as soon as you say supernatural, as opposed to extra natural, something outside of the natural universe, what is slipped in?
So you have a problem with words, right? You don't like certain words?
Hey. No, I just have a problem when you insert words in when somebody's trying to make a point.
Well, natural.
Okay, the reason is because, supernatural, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's why 13's asking you to sort of define what you mean. Because when you say supernatural, I know that you mean supernatural, intelligent, planning, creator being. And I think that's the thing that people are resisting. And I don't mean to speak for other people when I say that, but you see what I mean? That's the thing that sort of slipped in.
Well, I think logic points that way.
If I may, for just one moment, though. Part of why I ask what do you mean supernatural is because I've known a lot of people that are into varied, woo-woo, supernatural, this, that, and the other thing. So it's kind of a vague term, and that's why I'm like, okay, what do you mean by that? Because are you there's things like, you have your astrology and your tarot cards and all this other stuff that people claim are supernatural. So it's a matter of kind of defining it down to what you really mean by it, because I know there's a lot of things you don't mean by it.
Well, what I originally said was that I see no reason to believe that there's a naturalistic explanation for the universe, and I've never heard one. I have not heard a cogent argument for how the universe could create itself. Because I mean, if you say, well, whatever existed, brains, and I don't mean like brain in your head. I'm
hold on, Evan. You're already assuming that.
Wait,
you're already assuming the universe was created.
Well, of course.
Why are you assuming that?
It was caused, right? All things have cause.
Why are you saying it was caused?
Well, let me tell you why. Because it's empirically true in science that all things have cause. We know of nothing that is uncaused.
Okay.
Nothing.
Rationally explain to me how 0 dimensions, i.e., nothing, no thing, can become 3 dimensions, i.e., something, an object.
That's a good question. That's the problem for the atheist.
You're asking.
No, you're the one. You're the creationist. Explain that to me, because I'm not a creationist.
But Brick, the way that you're phrasing that, you're asking what was inside of a bubble before you blew it up.
Exactly. See, the universe.
No, I want to know how someone that holds to creation can explain it rationally.
Okay. Well, I can give you an argument for the special creation of organic life, Okay, but I can't evidence God physically, which is what atheists attempt to try to drag a Christian into doing. Show me this God. Oh, I can't do that. It's not logical that I would be able to. So the argument, the question it would be pointless, really, because it's obvious that nobody can put God in a mayonnaise jar and say, "Look, there's God." See, but the
No
thing is,
mayonnaise, please.
but the argument, but the evidence
What I
points
am
to
asking
special
you to
creation for the
do
universe.
is you're making a creation claim. The onus is on you
No,
to rationally explain
my
creation.
what I
Zero
originally said
dimensions to
was,
3 dimensions and 0 time. Explain it rationally.
that's what I
right
asked
now.
atheists when I came in this
Yeah,
room.
let's
I
go in.
said I
I'm
have
not a
not heard.
creationist. I'm
Rick,
not a
No,
Rick,
creationist.
Becky, let's
atheist.
go in.
Wait,
No, I said
Rick.
I have not heard a cogent argument for a naturalistic cause for the universe.
Okay, can I break in for just a
Becky,
minute?
invite Trollen.
Yeah, is it okay if I invite Trollin? It's Rick's hangout, so could I invite Trollin? Trollolin?
Sure thing.
Can I? There any? Is this restricted, or can I invite anyone else?
Should be able to
You can
invite
invite
Go
whoever
ahead
you
and
want to
invite.
invite.
Yeah.
The thing
Okay.
is, the universe itself is
Not
time,
Beach.
energy, space, and matter. So whatever caused the
Oh,
universe to come into existence.
what did you just say? What are the words you
well,
just said?
Well, let me. I'll repeat it if everybody will hold. Let me
Please
finish
do.
the sentence,
Say it
okay?
slow.
The universe is time, energy, space, and matter. Okay.
Okay,
Whatever
hold on.
brought no, don't interrupt me again. Let me finish.
Hang on a second, Rick.
No, right there.
No,
right
let
there.
me
Rick,
finish.
No,
Rick.
you're gonna
man.
stop right there.
No,
You
I'm not.
Stop right there.
Okay. No, I'm
You
not.
need to
I haven't finished
objectively
my statement.
and unambiguously define
Oh,
time.
come on, Rick,
You
man.
can do that when I'm
and
through
matter.
making my statement.
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, then don't
No.
let.
No.
Hang on one second.
You need
Rick,
to
Rick.
objectively and unambiguously define time, space, and
Oh,
matter.
come on, man. Rick, hang
Yes,
on.
yes,
It's a simple
yes.
Scientology concept. They call it MEST.
No,
MEST.
no. I want it defined.
Oh, come on. We're using the standard colloquial terms. If he's branching outside of that, he can define the specifics. Come on, man.
No. If you're going to use the words, you need to define them. The onus is on the person to define the key words of a statement, or he has no business using them.
So is this why they're giving you a hard time in that other hangout about you wanting every word defined?
I don't want every word defined. I want the key words defined, the ones that make or break the argument.
Well, yeah, the problem I have with that, Rick, is that you haven't actually heard the argument that he's setting
Yeah,
out.
pretty much.
It doesn't
Like-
matter what the argument is. He hasn't even defined his key words.
I know, but you're not. I think it's conventional to let somebody do kind of a
No,
quick
if you
run
want
through the bare
to
bones
assume
structure.
the meanings of
All right.
words, then that's on you. But
Okay.
here,
Like you're going
right
to interrupt
now,
me too when
we're
I
going to
try to
define
sort
the
of
words.
suggest a way that helps this conversation be useful and productive. Then whatever, I'll just mute and you can talk, Rick.
What's the argument?
We haven't heard it yet. We have no idea.
Well, before there's an argument, there's going to be some key words defined, but we're not going to have an argument. You're gonna if you're gonna use words like space, time, and matter.
Wait, you
you're gonna
haven't
define
defined the word "define" for me.
You
need to define that.
Make a specific meaning that can't be used any
Okay.
other way.
Rick,
Rick,
this is
Rick-
not how debates work. People don't talk
And
over
this
each
isn't
other.
a debate. I was hoping
okay?
for a discussion, man.
Well, you can't have a discussion if you can't speak, can you?
I agree.
No, you're not going to until you define your words. That's going to be
The
the end of
universe
it.
is time, energy, space, and matter. Okay,
Then you
whatever
need to hold right
brought
there,
the
right
universe
there,
into
right there,
existence.
Okay, honestly,
It's not
at this
time
point,
and
Wait,
space
wait,
and
wait,
matter.
wait,
Right there.
yeah.
You need to define your words. I will tell you once more.
Rick,
You
I'm
need
going to make an honest
define
suggestion here.
your words.
I'm going to make an honest
Your
suggestion here.
keywords.
Somebody else should host. Honestly, somebody else
Go
should
ahead.
host.
Just say everything
It's not
that
going to happen
exists.
in my hangout. You're not going to get away with it, man, because, see, religion doesn't there's no free hands to religion here.
Rick,
You
you
will
lost the
define
debate
your
already
words.
because you won't let anybody talk. You've already proven that you've lost your case. All right?
No. You
Yes.
haven't defined your key
No, you're
word.
running from argument instead of engaging.
Yeah, I
Define
don't
your
think
words.
he needs to define
matter, a
time,
collection
space,
of
and matter.
molecules, energy,
Oh, he
positive
doesn't?
and negative
What?
charged stuff. Space.
What?
That which can be measured. Time.
Everything
The
that
amount
exists.
of time we're wasting on this argument. Can we continue
Right.
now?
Can I finish one up my premise? The premise is this. The universe is comprised of time, energy, space, and matter. Whatever caused the universe to come into existence brought all of those things in together. Now, how do we know that? Well, because they're interdependent. You can't have time without space. You can't have space without time. You can't have matter without energy. They're all interdependent. Time, energy, space, and matter must exist together. None of them can exist independently. Okay, so the universe is comprised of time, energy, space, and matter. Whatever caused it to come into existence cannot be time, energy, space, and matter, because that would mean the universe is eternal. It can't. We're looking for the cause of the universe, not a static, eternal one, because there is no such thing. All right. So, what now?
Well,
This
you
is
are
a
making a
supernatural
lot
cause.
of freaking off the
This is
face
why I say
claims.
it's supernatural.
You're
cause,
making
because it's
claims like
outside of the
crazy,
universe.
and you haven't backed not a one up. And,
Well, I
and
can.
you're
I'll
using
try.
words without defining them. It's
I'll
not
try.
going to happen in my hangout. You can go start your own hangout all you want. It will not happen in my hangout.
Rick, let me ask you a question. Do you realize that time, energy, space, and matter are interdependent and cannot exist independently without each other? Do you know that?
You have not even defined the words. How am I supposed to know whether
Rick,
they can?
you haven't
anything?
defined word. What are you talking about? I can't talk to you. You won't define word. The word define. You won't define you.
No, your key
Rick.
words. You have
Rick.
not defined them.
Rick, this is very lame and adolescent. Please don't do this.
You know what? You call me lame and adolescent, but you cannot define the keywords of your argument.
Maybe somebody else
literally the words that
discuss
make or
this
break your argument, you cannot define.
Yeah, and
Objectively.
If you
and
need somebody to
ambiguously.
tell you what time, energy, space, or matter is, why are you here?
Okay, then why can't you tell me?
Why can't I tell you? Why should I need to? Is it not common sense that people not have a common sense understanding of what time, energy, space, and matter is?
No, because it can
No.
mean
Well, Rick, maybe
it can
you should
mean
start hanging out
20
with
different
people
things. You
that
need to
have
tell me the one
common sense
specific thing it
understanding of
means.
the world around them.
You
know?
need. You don't know what a rational definition is, do you?
If you don't have a common sense understanding what time, space, energy, and matter is, I'm not interested in talking to you.
You can't define energy. There's no way that you can define energy. I would give you $500
The potential for work.
right now if you can.
If you can send your $500.
The potential for work.
Send your $500.
And what does work? What does work?
I just defined it for you.
What does the work?
See, he's playing this.
What does the work?
Endless, infinite, define game.
You are about the most irrational person I've talked to in a while.
That's what I mean by it.
Pretty
It's very
bad.
adolescent.
Pretty bad. You use concepts like
you
they're
asked me
objects.
to define it, and I did.
You
Energy
commit
is
the
the
fallacy
potential
of reification. The fallacy of reification. You don't even know it.
Okay,
You're
I'm going to go
turning
start.
concepts into
I'm going to
objects.
go to start a hangout, and if anybody knows how to contact me, they can, because I don't have time for adolescent people, 35-year-old adolescents. Okay, so
You know what?
if I
You
wanted to
can't
have a
rationally
discussion,
explain
okay,
creation to save your
I'm
life.
going to go start a hangout, and if anybody wants to join it and actually talk without this adolescent gibberish.
Yeah, Neff, just unblock me on Skype.
Okay.
Unblock me on Skype, and then I'll message you. I can talk you through it. I mean, you'll probably figure out how to do it, but if you need help on there.
Okay.
Unblock him.
Okay.
I just love it when people use concepts. They throw them around like they're objects, like they exist prior to observers. Like the moon. The moon is observer independent. A concept like time, like energy, are observer dependent.
It's the same
Man
point,
created them. Man created them.
There's a point though that
They're
you
created.
get stuck.
Do you even know what an object? Do you know what the difference between an object and a concept?
Oh, for fuck's sake! Give me a fucking break. That was idiotic.
That would be pretty bizarre. Boy,
I
that
know,
would
and
really go somewhere fast, wouldn't it? That discussion
Yeah.
be bogged down. You'd be talking all day before you finished a paragraph.
Yeah.
I mean, we all argue over certain words and terms, and sometimes, hang on a second. And sometimes, we just get into arguments about it, and sometimes we agree to accept certain terms for the sake of argument. But to go to that extent is just,
Yeah.
Well, let me make the premise that I was making, since
Okay, yeah.
we've got a room full of more mature people.
Well, hang on. First, before you start, I'd like you to define the word hello.
Well, the base
Hello,
is hell.
our greeting and salutation.
Thank you.
She had me at hello, you know. And then I can just see that. Define hello, you know. Hello, you're very attractive. Would you like to have coffee with me? Can you define hello, please?
Did you define coffee?
Yeah,
Oh,
coffee? What exactly
on,
do you
hold on.
mean by have coffee?
Nephy, please. Not
It's
in an
clearly
elevator.
code.
Are we going to do something with this
Not
coffee?
in an elevator. Yeah, please define coffee in elevator.
Yeah, reminds me of this. Martin Short did a skit on SCTV years ago where he played a guy that was under fire, and he's sitting in this lazy boy chair and he's smoking cigarettes like crazy. His hand is shaking like a leaf, and he's completely paranoid, you know. And the guy asked him, "Did you know anything about that? Were you there?" And he says, you know, his hands shaking profusely, and he says, "I don't know what you mean. I don't. Where are you talking about exactly? What? I'm not sure who is it you're talking about." It's just, but anyway, the premise I was making was that if you're talking about the cause of the universe having an existence, then it seems logical to me that it can only be a supernatural cause, because since the universe is comprised of time, energy, space, and matter, whatever brought the universe into existence brought that into existence. And so if it's not comprised of time, energy, space, and matter,
Oh,
you
thank
have
God.
a
Vibrator repair.
supernatural cause. You have a cause outside of the universe, which is non-material, outside of time, eternal, etc. That's my premise. See, so it's just that if you're talking about whatever brought the universe into existence, it can't be the universe. See, it's got to be something else. That's my premise.
Why can't the universe spontaneously appear?
Well, because science says all things have a cause. That's
it?
what. Yes, it's empirical. The scientific method is based upon it. Every scientific investigation is based on the fact that all things have a cause.
I actually disagree with that.
Well,
because
how do you investigate something without looking for a cause?
Well, let me explain to you this way. When we break down something and refer to it as being a cause, that's kind of putting an artificial terminator. You know, that cause, that what we're calling a cause, is actually an effect of other factors leading to it. And that's just kind of an arbitrary terminator, and it's like, okay, we're going to call this the cause, even though we know that these other factors led to that happening. Get what I'm saying?
Well, now what you might be trying to do, though, is to posit that the universe is eternal, but that's not logical. That for the universe to be eternal, somebody changed their icon to Mike Martin Short.
Hey,
That's from that very thing I was talking about.
That's Nathan Thurm. That's Nathan Thurm is who you're thinking of.
Why is that not rational? Why is that not possible for the universe to be eternal? First, you need to define universe, but why is it not possible?
Well, there's a couple of reasons we know the universe is not eternal. One thing is because if it were eternal, there's no starting point for anything, so you can't quantify anything. You can't measure anything. If that were true, then 1 millimeter would be equal to 1 million billion miles.
Well,
see,
hang on a second.
and furthermore, because you could say, if we're going to say the universe is existing infinitely into the past, and so I'm going to mark off these seconds going into the past. This is second -1, -2, -3. We're just going to keep going, and it just never ends. It goes on for eternity. But if that were true, you could put an infinite number of seconds in between any two seconds.
A rational concept called infinity that mathematicians came up with. It has nothing to do with reality.
Yes,
nothing.
No, it does. It has to do with laws of logic. Well, see, it's not logical.
The laws of logic. Where are the laws of logic?
Rick, let me explain one thing to you. If you have no beginning, if it existed eternally into the past, then where's the starting point from which you're going to say you can measure A to B? There is none. See.
When measuring
so that
infinity,
means all measures of time and space are worthless in an eternally existing universe.
When
And
you're
since the
trying to measure,
universe,
if you'll hang on for a second, when you're
well,
trying
well,
to,
let me finish this one thing. And since the universe can be quantified, we can measure time, space, and energy and matter. We know, therefore, that it cannot be.
I suggest you read some of these articles I'm posting because they completely destroy everything you're saying. These
I'm
two
sure they
articles
don't.
that I've posted so far.
okay.
Okay, then just read them. Then, if you think they won't destroy them, then read them, and you
Well,
won't
I tell you
have
what
any
I would
problem.
find if I read them. I would find lots of assumptions and no scientific data to support it.
You're already making an assumption.
Yes, I
You
am.
haven't even read them.
Based on what I've read from other and heard Lawrence Krauss say and other people.
What do you?
Based on
They have nothing to do with Lawrence
mathematical
Krauss. Lawrence Krauss is a fucking idiot.
Okay, well, I
They have
agree.
nothing to do with Lawrence Krauss, who talks about nothing as something.
Okay.
He's a stupid idiot. Okay.
Well, let me give you some
have nothing
reasons
to do
to
with
know
Lawrence
that the
Krauss.
universe is not eternal. The second law of thermodynamics shows that universal, usable energy in the universe is running
You're
down.
talking about in a closed system.
No,
In a
no,
closed
no.
system.
Rick, I'm going to ask you to be quiet or leave the hangout.
Well, I haven't been able to get in a word in edgewise either.
Well, they asked for it. I'll just give you a couple of things, and then anybody can talk, and you can carry on and on and on. Rick, I'm going to ask you to be quiet or leave the hangout.
Well, I haven't been able to get in a word in edgewise either.
Well, they asked for it. I'll just give you a couple of things, and then anybody can talk, and you can carry on and on and on. The second law of thermodynamics shows us that usable energy is running down in the universe. This implies that it had a beginning where all the energy was. The universe is expanding. Traced backwards, this means the universe came from somewhere, a dot or nothing, because it was not. If we follow this logically, it continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so the universe, if the universe were eternal, time would also be eternal, but we would have never gotten to this moment where we are presently in time because it would never arrive. Okay, that's another logical reason why the universe can't be eternal. We see matter continuously degrade instead of becoming more complex. If things fall apart when they're left to themselves, the world could not be infinite. See, firstly, also, science says energy can't be created or destroyed. So where did the energy that exists in the universe come from? Because science tells us a naturalistic cause is not the explanation for the energy in the universe. The energy is part of the universe. So for a cause for the universe has to be the cause of the universe's energy as well, because time, energy, space, and matter are interdependent. Can't have any of them without all of them. So since science tells us that you can't create or destroy energy, all the energy for the universe came from some cause that is not materialistic. Okay, and so those are my premises. Now I'll just leave it open for discussion.
Okay. Well, let's start with that. Actually, I'm going to skip over the whole supernatural thing for starters, because I do object to some degree of referring to that which is outside of what we consider to be the universe as supernatural. That's kind of defining what we have as natural as being everything inside here, and I don't see the reason why what's outside of our universe wouldn't be natural as well, although potentially within different parameters. But I'm willing to leave that aside. Now, in terms of measuring something that's infinite, you don't sit there and, try to measure it all the way to the end. That's not how it works. You measure a segment of it. For example, with pi, we don't need to go all the way to the proverbial infinite end of pi. All we need to do is use the part that we need, the 3.141519 or whatever. You only use the segment that you need in terms of dealing with that kind of stuff.
Well, then how do you get to the premise that the universe is eternal? If you can't trace it that far back, if you're only using a slice of it.
I didn't say that our universe, what we call our universe, is eternal, but I'll get to that. Okay. Now, as for not being able to get to the current moment in time, the problem isn't getting to the current moment in time, it's getting out of the current moment of time, because we effectively live in a state which is known as now. And the state of now, whether it's our perception of it or external perception, doesn't really have a beginning or an end. It's a constant state of now.
You seem to be denying that human beings have the ability to perceive the passing of time.
That's a metric that we're using to say, okay, well, we know X number of years ago, etc. Time, as that you're referring to, is a metric that measures the changes in the state of physical things and energies as time goes on. But those events actually occur within the state of now. That past and the future and what have you, and all those potential possibilities all
Yeah, but the
branch out.
moment now,
What you're
this
looking
moment
at,
now is not the same as that one.
what you're
right?
looking at, the moment now is still the same moment now.
Well, that was a now, and this is a now, right? Because if 1 minute ago was now,
and my wife is apparently correct that people cannot comprehend the notion of infinity. Basically, if you look at it as a ruler, you have a marker on that ruler. That marker is now. That's where we exist. That's where we live. That's where all things exist temporally. What
and
happens
that's where
is
we were 5 minutes ago,
we
right?
don't move. We don't move. We're always in the now. What's moving is the ruler. We
So
usually
there's no
perceive it
then.
as us moving through time, but we're not moving through time. Time is moving around us. It's a slightly different way of looking at it, but nonetheless, I mean, you go back to the beginning and asking, you know, what was inside the what was there before the universe was created. I always use the analogy of a bubble and what was inside that bubble before the bubble was blown up. But using, for example, the membrane hypothesis and how they use that in string theory of these two membranes that are against each other, think of it kind of like water and oil. You know, you have that definitive line between the two of them, and when something sits there and disturbs that, you get these little bubble forms, and that bubble would be an analogy for our universe and how it creates. Now, what caused that bubble to form is certainly open to debate because we do not know that yet. However, the materials that bubble was formed out of would exist in a prior state, which admittedly would be different and would function somewhat differently, but it would be in a different state. Now, we can't say whether it was some kind of super interdimensional whatever that did this, or a machine, or just a natural event from turbulence for all intents and purposes. We don't really know that yet. But stipulating a consciousness behind it is, I think, a step too far. Oh, and the second law of thermodynamics states that entropy of an isolated system never decreases because isolated systems spontaneously evolve towards thermodynamic equilibrium. But we're talking in that case about isolated systems.
Now, wait, the universe is the usable energy in the universe is being evened out. It's being spread out. Isn't that true?
Well, if you go back to what I was explaining in terms of the membrane, you can think of it like a drop of water, we'll just say. And over time, what will happen is that water will merge out and merge back into what it came out of. Mm-hmm. And that's why I tend to use that analogy because, you know, you separate the oil and the water and eventually it'll merge in together.
That implies that it was all together at one point in the past.
Yeah, that's what I'd speculate.
Right. Well, that would be that's the evidence of the universe expanding.
Well, that's that we're talking pre-universe in this instance.
What was the universe which it was in the now, according to you, 3.5, 5 billion years ago, 4.5, whatever. Let's say 100 million years after it began. Wasn't that now then? And isn't now also?
It was still now. As I say, it's the ruler that moves.
Now is just a perception of existence. That's all now is.
Now is where all energy, matter, and space exist.
So there was no energy, time, or space prior to now.
See,
your argument is nonsensical. Completely.
It's not that the argument's not sensible. It's unfortunately, it's that you're having difficulties grasping it. And
no, the premise is nonsensical because it denies the past.
That's not a dig on you. That's just, I find this with a lot of people that they can't really get what I'm trying to say with this.
Well, you're trying to argue that the universe existed eternally based on the fact that people perceive the passing of time. That doesn't add up.
No, I'm talking about the multiverse, technically speaking, not simply.
Well, we don't have any evidence for a multiverse. I want to talk about.
So you think that prior to the creation of the universe, there was absolutely nothing whatsoever?
Well, if we're talking about the universe has a cause. So, the science proves all things have a cause.
But
so the universe is not an exception.
No. Everything that we know as being a cause a terminator, that, you know, every event leading up to that cause and every contributing factor, we ignore all those contributing factors and say this is the cause.
Now you're talking about determinism, but
no, I'm talking about reality and how we understand things. We say, okay, for example, somebody was walking down the street and they tripped over a rock. And you can say, well, the cause of them tripping was this rock on the road, so they tripped over it. Or you can go back to, how did that rock get in the road?
Okay, let's assume for a second that your determinism is correct. It still doesn't make a case for a naturalistic cause for the universe.
Once again, it's not determinism. It's just simply stating that all we have is a chain of events.
Okay.
Basically,
because there is a chain of events does not posit that the universe is eternal.
Everything that we call a cause is actually effect of something else. We've never seen something that exists as a cause in a vacuum that in and of itself isn't an effect of other things. This is not something we've ever observed through human cognition. So
I disagree.
Okay, well, what's a cause that is not an effect of something else?
Well, that would be language, for example. Language can be evolve. Languages diversify. One branches out, creates others. But we have no point in human history where we know where there is no human experience where any human being never had language. Well, language has always existed with human beings.
It's going to start off with grunts and points, and eventually a language is going to emerge.
Now, that's where your assumption is. You have zero evidence for that. There's nothing in science that evidences that at all.
Actually, if you look
the
at animals
evolution
in the animal kingdom,
of language from animal sounds is not evidenced. And firstly, human the idea of we can talk about human evolution.
You realize that babies are not born with a language.
What you're dragging this off to now is in something else. Science proves to us that all things have a cause. The universe is time, energy, space, and matter.
Are also effects.
This came into existence at some point in the past because it did not exist in the past. What you're trying to argue is that the universe is eternal, but this is self-contradictory because it argues that all spaces are equal to each other. You see, if I'm pointing into the past and I say, I'm going to measure from this point to that point and I'm going to declare that to be a mile, then I can say, no, that's not a mile, that's a millimeter.
That's a human contrived measurement.
How are you going to prove me wrong?
It's a human contrived measurement. These are things we use to quantify things, much like we use time to quantify periods of time. Now, what you call a mile doesn't technically exist. It's just a human definition for a thing.
Where is it? Where are you getting your standard for measure of anything if the universe is eternal? How can you measure anything?
The measurements are things that we've made up.
Okay, but we can measure the universe. It is tangible, and it's not abstract.
Yeah, we need to create a unit of measure first.
We can measure it. And whether or not the measurements were invented by man or not, it is true that we can measure things.
Yes.
Okay. So can 1 mile equal a millimeter? If the universe is eternally existing in the past, where do you get your start or stop point for measuring anything?
Well, let's see now. I do have a couple maps around here in which the unit of measure on them is 1 millimeter equals 1 mile.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but you're still talking about pointing to a point in time or space from which you'll begin measuring. How do you get that?
I'm referring to you're pointing to a point in space.
Mm-hmm. I said time or space.
Well, no, we're not talking time here. We're talking space. There is a difference.
Well, the universe is time, energy, and space and matter.
Well, time's simply a unit of measure. We exist in the now. What we do is...
Time doesn't exist without space, energy, and matter. If you don't believe me, tell me, how are you going to measure time without the existence of anything material?
You mean, how are you going to measure time?
How are you going to denote the passing of time, of events? Without something physical.
You make up a metric.
Okay. What is this metric? How do you convey this metric?
Time is the metric.
How do you convey that metric to someone else so we can share what your idea is?
Come up with a unit of measure, just like a foot is a metric.
How do you share with other people that this unit of measure exists?
The same way that we designated that an inch is an inch and a centimeter is a centimeter.
You have to convey it somehow. You have to inform them. That requires matter. See, time requires matter.
Hang on, that requires communication.
Right, communication requires time and matter. Because if not, then they have all knowledge at the beginning. Always had the knowledge. That's illogical. And without matter,
that's an
there's no
illogical
way
jump.
for you to convey what's in your mind to anyone. You need a medium to share the information. That means you have to put the sound waves into the air with your mouth.
I have a question for you,
Type
Nephy.
it up on a computer. See,
Tell me when it is no longer now,
matter
please.
are interdependent.
Tell me when it is no longer now.
Well, is there such thing as a past?
A past is a unit of measure of prior states of now.
Okay, right. If there were an infinite number of
But the
prior
simple fact of the
states,
matter is
then
we are still in a state of now. Now, the future states and prior states do stretch back in an infinite regression, and I have no problem with that.
What evidence do you have for that? And secondly, how is it that if again you're avoiding answering my question? Actually, if time is infinite going back into the past in a quantifiable universe, and this universe is quantifiable, we can measure time, energy, and space and matter.
I'm not restricting things to this current universe.
Well, then what? You're stepping out of reality here. You're arguing for a universe other than the one we're in. That's not the question. How did this universe come into existence? Not the one in your imagination.
But here's what we're talking about, Nephy. Here's what I'm trying to explain to you. Is that I'm saying there would have been a prior state prior to this universe.
Well, how do you know that?
Basic deductive reasoning.
What reasons that there was
as
some...
I already said, what that state is and what it is like, we do not yet know.
Well, you don't know what it is. You haven't evidenced this thing. It's in your imagination. This prior state of material.
There is no evidence that such a thing as a cause can exist without it in and of itself also being an effect.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the universe is eternal, and you don't have to give an explanation for why you believe it.
That's not what I said.
Well, that's where you're going.
From another state.
Yes.
Right. Well, what state? Where's the evidence that there wasn't a prior
Nevada.
We don't know. In a sense, okay, yeah, very funny.
You don't know.
Yeah, it comes from the slot machine. In a way, you're both saying similar things. Neff, what you're trying to get to is that there must be a cause for this universe we're living in now, right? And to you, that cause must be a supernatural one outside of the universe. 13 is saying, yes, there is a cause for this universe we're living in now, but it doesn't have to be a supernatural cause.
Right,
but it doesn't have to be but what I'm also saying is there's no reason to think that that cause would also not be an effect of something else.
Okay, so if the universe, if this universe, as you call it, exists because of a prior state or cause, was that cause comprised of time, energy, space, and matter?
That's where it gets...
Such as the brains that you speak of? It would be, would it not? It would be a material cause, wouldn't it not?
From our understanding right now...
It may not be defined as material based upon our understanding what material is.
If it's comprised of energy, time, space, and matter, that's material.
Well, yes, but here's the thing I'm thinking about this. I would say, given our understanding, we would have to say yes, because that's all of our experience. However, what if there were in a state where matter and energy were indistinguishable?
Well, what if
then you wouldn't have time, space, and matter. You'd have time and smatter.
Okay, but see, basing on zero, basing a premise that the universe is eternal on zero evidence or zero logical argument is not giving a case. I haven't heard a case for how the universe can be eternal yet. What I hear is
not what I'm saying, Neff.
Well,
that's not what I'm saying.
Well, if you're saying the universe is uncaused, okay, and you discount a supernatural cause, that is a cause outside of time, energy, space, and matter.
I'm saying that whatever caused the universe, there is no reason to think it was not an effect of other factors.
Right. Well, a factor. What factor can exist if there is no time, energy, space, or matter?
We don't know that there is no time, energy, space,
so your
or matter
argument is based on I don't know what it is, but there's gotta be some other cause than God. That's genius.
Wait, Neff. I have to ask you how closely you were really listening to the beginning of this conversation.
No, I heard you, and
okay,
this is what you're doing.
Did I say that it cannot be a God?
Okay, but
did I say
arguing? You're arguing for something you have no answer for, you have no logical argument for, and no physical evidence of.
Well, this is the thing, Neff. What we do is we use this thing
Isn't
called
that what we
science
just
to try
complain
and
about
find those
Christian?
answers.
Okay, so what we've come to the conclusion is that you're not able to provide an argument about what could be the cause of the universe. That's where we got to. Okay, I can provide an argument that it was a supernatural intelligence that did it.
And I could give you the argument that it was the flying spaghetti monster, but that doesn't make it so.
Well, I'd like to hear that argument.
What you're doing is you're throwing in
Can
an
you?
arbitrary space holder.
No, I'm not.
God is an arbitrary
evidence
space
based on
holder
inference.
in lack of evidence. Just
No,
like
not a
God,
lack.
when it was considered the explanation for where we get lightning, was an arbitrary space holder until he figured out how
No.
that works.
No, that's a big straw man. What you're doing now is a straw man, and because I can make an argument for an intelligent being as the cause for the universe based on the inference that we get from our observation about the world around us. The world around us inferences that there is an intelligent being.
Okay, what about the world around us that gives us this inference that there's an intelligent being?
The fact that all life is based on information. Is that evidence?
No, not that argument.
Oh, life is not based on information.
Okay, in this case,
yeah.
I honestly do have to ask you to define information.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Information
that.
is the conveyance of knowledge from one entity to another entity using a physical medium. It's informing. Information is knowledge conveyed from a sender to a receiver.
Last time we had that part of the discussion a while back.
So you're going to deny the definition of information as well. What do you do to argue for your worldview except deny the definition of words and such?
Well, that's a workable definition. I think we can go with that.
Yeah,
that's the given.
Yeah.
That's the one given by the Webster's Dictionary. That's the one given by Git Werner, who is chairman of the Federal Institute of Information Technology. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It is an established definition.
All right. If I may interject here, one thing here in Nephy's defense, he isn't using Urban Dictionary to define words.
Yeah,
Unlike
I saw the entries.
Bionic Dan, who does.
Well, I can
Nephy
demonstrate
isn't
for
doing
you
that.
Yeah.
I can
So I'll give him
demonstrate
points for that.
that my definition of information is logical, that it works. For example, if we're talking about inform information, the root word of that word is inform. There must be an informer. There's organization, there's an organizer. Where there's information, there's an informer. Where there's an artist, where there's art, there's an artist. Where there's typing, there's a typist. Okay, so information requires an informer. I'll give you an example. Two people are stargazing, and they're looking at the stars, and one of them observes that a star is particularly blue, and he turns to the other person, and he's thinking to himself, "Gee, that star is blue, but I wish that guy could see that." He hasn't informed him of anything. He's just got the knowledge. When he looks at the star, he observes that it's blue. He has gained knowledge that the star is blue. Now he wishes to convey that. So he turns to the other stargazer and says, "Do you see this star?" He points to it. "This star is very blue." Now there's information because one sender, has informed the receiver. If you don't send him knowledge from one to another, there is no informing. See? So information is knowledge conveyed from a sender to a receiver.
But was the star
all
blue
life
prior to being
in
perceived?
this universe, and I'm sorry?
Was the star blue before somebody perceived it and passed along the information that it was
It's
blue?
irrelevant to whether or not information takes place when the sender conveys that knowledge to the receiver. That's irrelevant.
But it's
It wouldn't matter if it was
But
pink.
it is incredibly relevant to
No.
what you're claiming, which is that everything is information.
No, I didn't say everything is information. I didn't say any such thing.
Okay, so repeat your initial statement, then perhaps I lost it.
Information is knowledge conveyed from a sender to a receiver, requiring a medium and a language agreed upon by both parties. Because if I speak Portuguese and you speak German, and I try to inform you of something, it's not going to happen. We both have to speak Spanish or Portuguese or German or use sign language or some other language that is accepted and understood by both for me to inform you of anything. See? So information is knowledge conveyed from a sender to a receiver using a language agreed upon by both.
Okay, and how does that get to God?
Well, because all life is based on information.
Okay, that's what I was going for there.
Information is immaterial, intangible, massless. It's an abstract construct of mind.
What's that got to do with life then?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to find out. That's where I was getting lost.
Because this is evidence that the information that drives life is an abstract construct of a mind. Because all information is an abstract construct.
Right, but sure, but we're agreed on that definition. I don't have a problem with that. But then, where's the information in life? You're under that definition.
It is the encoded product of the genetic material.
Well, there's no
and the structural design of the cell's cortex and the existence of its because genetic information does not produce the cell cortex. It's passed on by
now you're talking about genetic information, which is not information in the sense that information we just agreed on that definition.
I disagree. How is it not information?
Well,
scientists say that it is.
It's proteins.
Biologists around the world describe it as
information. In that context, scientists are discussing the sequencing, the content of
they're
DNA.
Discussing information. Now you're doing what a lot of atheists do, aren't you? And you're trying to argue that what they say is not really what they mean.
It's a different definition of the term, is what he's saying.
Because you argued very hard for a particular definition of the word information, and I think we're all agreed on it. I don't think anybody objects to saying, okay, yeah, we mean information in the sense of the content of it and informing.
And DNA is passed by proteins and cells. It's not passed by a mind.
It's knowledge that, for example, the encoded information in the DNA that produces a protein is knowledge that arrangement, that specified arrangement.
Who holds that knowledge?
Of amino acids will produce the specific protein, which is a specific machine.
Not knowledge, it's chemistry.
The precise sense that you defined it is you said that there has to be an informer and an informed, a sender and a receiver. So, and you also had said that there has to be knowledge, and I assume you don't mean that like in the Aristotle sense, but I mean you're saying that there's a content, there's something about which the sender wishes to inform the receiver, and that you're saying that's in the sense you're using the word information. That's how those are required. So now we're looking inside a cell, and we see this elaborate and amazing molecule, the DNA, and now you're saying, well, that's information, or alternatively it contains information, but then who in the cell knows? Who's the knower? Who is the sender?
And keep in mind we're talking chemistry. Keep in mind we're talking chemistry. T and A always combine, G and C always combine, because those are the ones that fit together.
The genetic code is not dependent upon the molecules. It's not dependent upon chemistry. The genetic information that defines processes and features of organisms is not dependent upon which nucleotide will bond with which other nucleotide.
It actually kind of is.
No, it isn't, because not all. Because they can be arranged in a variety of manners. You can have a 0, 1, 0, 0. You can have A, C, C, G, T, 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 C, G,
hang on,
no. 13. Actually, I think that derails us. I think that takes us away from the point. Regardless of the physics and mechanics of it. But the issue is okay. So now, Neph, you're saying that the cell is the knower, because the way you defined it before, I guess we have to find the right word for this. There's a sender and a receiver. So you use the analogy of two people looking at a star, and the person who makes an observation about the blueness of the star. Now that thinker forms an idea or forms knowledge, in that sense of it, and then you're saying that they wish to communicate that, so this other thinker can share in that idea. So now when you're talking about a cell, who is the thinker that wishes to send a message?
That would be a receiver. The cell is the receiver. The informer is the one that provides the information to organism.
Is that like the Golgi apparatus or the mitochondrion? Like who is the thinker that is the sender, and who is the thinker that is the receiver?
The thinker that is the sender would be the one who encoded the information, and the receiver would be the cell.
But the receiver, so the cell is a thinker?
The cell is not, the receiver does not have to be a mind. See, I can inform a computer, but I don't have to, I can inform a person or I can inform a computer, but there is no such thing as information produced by a computer.
Well, who's the
There's
sender?
conveyance of information.
But,
okay?
Who's the sender then?
Always a mind. There is no such thing as information that does not arise from mind.
Okay, so what's the mind that this information is coming from then? That's what we're trying
well,
to
get I would say a being with the intelligence.
I'm sorry,
I would say a being with the intelligence to encode it so that it produces the incredible product of organic life.
Assuming what's to be proven.
Mm-hmm. So when very apparatuses of the cell pull apart these DNA molecules, so that you have the right and left part there, and you have all these different proteins floating around, and the proteins connect exactly where they're able to because of chemistry. That's an external mind telling them to do that, or it's just something how they function?
No, the DNA is just a medium. Information is encoded in a medium. All information requires a medium because we live in a physical universe. You can't convey it without affecting the medium. You need a medium to convey because we live in a physical world. But what you're attempting to do in a way is argue that information doesn't come from mind as well, and I would say that's demonstrably false because there is no example of any information that's not traceable to mind.
But the argument, or rather the definition you gave of information that's being dependent on the mind doesn't really work on that kind of level. It also doesn't work on the level of molecules combining either.
Okay, well, I disagree. I see it from a different viewpoint. I see it as genetic, the information in the genome of organisms. It's described as information by geneticists. So they use the same word to describe it as I do, information.
With a different definition, yes.
They don't really? No, I don't think so. I think some try to define it using Shannon information, but that really fails because Shannon information is about statistical analysis, not the origin of information. It's about studying information with other information. It's not about the origin or cause of information. Shannon information is the study of information and employing other information.
Yeah, I don't think it's what he's getting at, but I think the point is true empiricism. Is that his name? True empiricism or true empiricism? Yeah, he left. He's a pretty neat guy. Yeah, the thing is, though, as soon as you, and we agree that we can use that definition of information, then, and nobody's arguing then that information can exist without a mind, a sending, thinking mind. I mean, because that's the definition of it. You can't agree to that definition and then turn around and say, oh, but there's lots of information that happens without a sender, because we've agreed that there has to be a sender. But as soon as you adopt that definition, then you have to demonstrate that the thing that you're talking about, whether it's the idea of the blueness of a star or the mapping of a river, whatever it is that you're talking about, for it to qualify as information, you have to make the demonstration that it fits the definition. So now when we start talking about DNA, the sequence of the DNA sequencing or the contents of DNA, those things don't qualify as information unless you can demonstrate that they fit your definition of information.
Well, okay, if something, if an unknown effect, if there's a potential for, let's say, 10 different effects to take place if A occurs. Okay. Now, if something comes along and says, do B, and B is performed and a specific product is produced from it, to me, that's genetic information, not genetic randomness. It's specific. It's specified. It's not random. It's not garble. It's not.
And nobody said it's random or gibberish or meaningless or anything like that.
Right, but non-information is meaningless. Okay. It provides no knowledge. It does not specify something, a work to be done. For example, there's all kinds of examples of work that needs to be done in the cell, and machinery in the cell that directs that work. Says no, don't do everything. Do this. See, that kind of thing is specific. It's specified.
Well,
Information can be is also.
But that can be said of anything. You can look at something like Saturn and say, well, what keeps the gaseous ball that forms Saturn? What keeps it nice and round? And then what keeps the rings in place? And why does Saturn not just go shooting off? It always kind of makes this gradual left-hand turn, and not too sharply so it darts into the sun. I mean.
But wait, Saturn's not doing work that was specified by something.
Well, under your worldview, it must be doing exactly what God wants it to do, to have pretty rings and stay nice and round and not crash into the sun.
Yeah, but not in a materialistic world. In a materialistic existence, then there's what you'd be saying is that you're arguing in effect that Saturn is you're equivocating the existence of a planet to information. The fact that it merely exists in its state, whatever that is, that's not what information is.
I don't think there's anything about Saturn that's information. Sorry for interrupting. I just don't want you to misrepresent what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Saturn is information or contains information or anything like that. I'm saying
information informs. Okay?
Evan, can you define exist? What do you mean by exist?
Okay.
I don't even know if that's true.
Aside from the genetic information that defines life, which I posit just cannot arise by materialistic cause. I would say it's impossible times impossible times impossible. ... All right. There's that evidence that there was an intelligent agent behind this universe and this world.
That's not a good definition of exist.
Above that.
It can't be circular. It can't invoke another object. It has to be
I can also provide
objective.
Arguments that
Define
the Bible
exist.
I can also provide arguments that the Bible is, in fact, the inspired word of God because it possesses foreknowledge that man couldn't have. And this knowledge comes from somebody who knows the future.
I said define exist.
That would be, that's also one of my arguments. I would say also the special properties of the balance of the forces in the universe is not something that could be argued for in a
the forces, the universe. You haven't defined any of these concepts, but define exist.
Okay.
Please.
Give me just a moment, guys.
Think about it really hard because you're going to need it.
I don't see him in here. Who is that that's speaking?
You want me to do it, Neph? I can do it.
Okay.
Okay. Yes?
Yeah. Go ahead. Define exist.
Actually, sorry, I don't have that in this one.
Okay. All right. And then there's the argument from Scripture. Then also I would say there's an argument from history that we can also demonstrate that the Bible is not mythology but in fact history, and the table of nations given in the book of Genesis is demonstrably the origin of numerous tribes of mankind and their languages. So if the Bible is giving us an accurate, correct history of the early mankind, then the evolutionary one is out the window. So, and if the Bible is demonstrable as the inspired word of God, then the earth is not millions of years old, neither is the universe. It's only thousands of years old. Is there physical evidence that the earth is only thousands of years ago? I can give you 100 of them. So there's a lot of things that I can put forth as evidence that
but none of them are upheld by science.
I would disagree, totally.
For starters, once again.
Well, here's one that it is.
For crying out loud.
In the book of Job, written about 1400 BC, God asks Job, have you ever traversed the ocean floors to see the springs on the sea floor? And Job, of course, tells God, no, I haven't. But they were discovered in 1977. So science verifies that the Book of Job has knowledge that in 1400 BC that it would be impossible for
He's
that
not
to
listening to any of us. He's just going to keep talking over us.
Neff, can I just interject here for a second?
Yeah.
Heathen, just because we haven't found... All right, well, just because we haven't found fish fossils on the moon doesn't mean they're not there.
I see. That's a straw man too, because nobody says we should. No Christian believes we have reason to find fish fossils on the moon. That's almost as lame as Thunderfoot's argument.
He's picking on you for that whole.
I know.
Yeah,
I know, but it's almost as lame as Thunderfoot's whales thing. You know, really. Come on. So, but I would ask you, if the Bible is the inspired Word of God, how can ancient universe be true?
To talk. Damn it.
Well,
I gotta go walk the dog then. I gotta go walk the dog. I'll be back.
Well, since nobody's taking the mic, I'll ask what makes it logical to believe?
Can you define exist again? I've asked you about 4 times. Can you define exist?
What makes it logical to believe that naturalism is the explanation for everything in this world?
Can you define exist? What do you mean by exist?
I mean that there are multiple dimensions and there are different ways of conceptions of defining reality, and what is material for different things are different for different dimensions. Like you can live in a dimension where you can completely understand the Earth dimension, but it doesn't matter in your dimension.
Are you being for serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious, man?
Yeah, 100% serious.
Are you on acid? Or are you serious?
No. One time I was sitting in the corner of my room, right, and I was like on no drugs, no toxins. It was
you weren't on shrooms or anything like that? Are you sure?
No, it was DMT. It was DMT, okay? And I was sitting in the corner of my room, and I was thinking to myself, why am I sitting in the corner of my room, and I'm also sitting down there on the sofa? And I'm going, wow, how is it possible that my sofa looks so different from this fucking dimension? Why does my sofa look like a spaceship?
Well, let me tell you something there, Eric. There's only 3 dimensions.
Well,
length,
in this reality,
height.
Just because,
that's it, length, width, and height.
Just because your material, like conception of reality, okay, has been accustomed to what you now in this body conceive as material reality, doesn't mean that other things are
Eric,
not as intelligent or more intelligent.
Evan,
wow.
Exist is an object with location. An object is that which has shape. An object with location exists.
But see, Rick, the problem is that you're coming in here and you're completely changing the subject of what we were talking about, and we were having a very interesting conversation, man.
And you know what? Evan was whooping you guys' ass.
No, hang on.
I'm killing you.
Wait a minute. I take exception to that.
Kinetic energy doesn't exist.
So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I was enjoying the conversation we were having.
Energy? What? Define energy.
Rick.
Okay, can I say something here? I put it in the chat, but one thing I learned from G-Man's Hangouts is he was having trouble with people unmuting themselves constantly when he muted them. So if you have a problem with someone, Evan, that or anyone else that keeps talking and you keep muting him and it doesn't work, you can just turn their volume all the way down.
Yeah, but I was going to say part of the problem is that Nephy does a bit of a gish gallop in that he will just keep talking and not let anyone else. Because the thing is, we could address things one at a time, but at the same point, just there you go. And at that point, it's like, I have no idea what we're talking about anymore.
Yeah, sometimes I want to talk about something that by the time I start to talk, we're on to some other world, so to speak. Yeah.
What I see in here is a bunch of people that have a bunch of irrational ideas that chase each other down bunny trails.
Okay.
And so you're like, oh no, let him talk. But then what you're doing is you're chasing each other down these bunny trails, and because you've already started with a rational starting points. And so what you're doing is you're really chasing each other around the surface.
Get a word in edgewise.
Oh, I can't get a word in edgewise right now because you keep on interrupting me.
Guys, I have a question.
If you want to keep interrupting me, fine. Do you want to keep interrupting me? Huh?
Well, Rick, can I ask my question then?
Okay, so you're going to talk forever. No, you can't ask your question. You let me.
Why not?
Go ahead.
Because now you're interrupting me, Rick.
Are you going to let me talk, fuckhead?
My question... My name's not fuckhead,
pussy.
my name's Headless
Shut
Chicken.
the fuck up.
Hey, can you guys are you guys fighting amongst each other? Are you guys fighting with each other?
Hey, let me talk, shit fuck.
No, it's Rick's just fighting with us.
Okay,
All I was going to ask you, Rick, is what's your background
look, I've turned Rick down in the Hangout toolbox, okay, but can we please just speak about something like, do you still believe in, like, one another? Do you still believe in one another?
What?
So I'm just using the...
Okay, come on, everybody, let's just cut it out for a minute.
Listen to me.
Rick, you're really being obnoxious here. And Neff, I would suggest you use the control panel and turn his volume all the way down. Then he can't come back.
Get out, man, on the mute
I keep getting cut off,
You can use Hangout Toolbox. Look, I can turn you down. Okay, where's Becky? Okay, where's Becky? She's the cat.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here.
Where's the cat? Where's the cat?
What you can do is you can turn, but Neff has the master control. All that you turning me down will do is turn me down for you.
No, I can turn you down.
No.
Okay, you all guys listening now to me?
I can turn you down, lady.
Are
you listening?
Sorry, Jade, but I can't turn you down.
What you're doing is chasing each other around rabbit trails, down rabbit trails, because you're already holding to these irrational definitions of these concepts. You haven't defined anything. Energies, forces, creation. I mean, it goes on. It goes on and on forever.
Yes, and we would be here a month of Sundays if we had to define.
Well, if you want to just talk
understood.
Okay, if you want to be religious, then go ahead. Religions, the rational explanations for reality. Go ahead. If you do not require people that make statements, scientific statements, to rationally explain and define their key words, then fine. I mean, let people just go on and on and on. But that Christian is whooping your ass right now.
No, he isn't.
From what I'm listening to, he's whooping all the atheist ass.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Rick. Would I be kicking your ass
you
if I
have
kept
no idea whether or not everyone in here is an atheist.
Look, I'm just playing you a very simple song. It's an international song that reaches out to all religions and all people from all distances.
Shut the fuck up, Eric.
Here's the thing. Let me explain this to you. If I were to keep talking and talking over you and not let anyone else talk, would that mean that I'm winning the discussion simply because I'm not allowing anyone else to talk and I'm the only one allowed to talk? So if you're actually going to define that as winning the argument, then that's kind of silly.
Yes, no, nobody's trying to win any argument because nobody's ever completely right and nobody's ever completely wrong at any given moment. So it's one of those things, you're never completely right. I've just studied a master's postgraduate course over the last year, 2013, and I can tell you right now that no argument is ever completely right, nor is it completely wrong in the academic sense, because you're only doing research, you're only trying to figure out...
Why are you even freaking arguing anything, man? Why don't you just go in the corner and argue with yourself then?
No, I'm just saying that you'll never be completely right, because at the moment when you're completely right, there'll be people trying to prove that you're wrong. Yes.
Okay.
So
Neff is back.
That's what I'm saying to you. We should try and reach
Who keeps on muting me? Whoever mutes me again.
Oh, wow. No. I mean, just put an auto unmuter. You can just do an auto clicker. Just type in auto clicker and do an auto unmute.
You know what?
You can just install a little program if people are really pissing you off. Man.
Okay, where's Pseudo at? Pseudo, you're blocked, motherfucker.
Look, man. I don't want to argue
Hey,
with anybody. I don't think arguing is good. I don't think people should block each other because I think that if you're in the same room as me right now, you wouldn't probably be speaking to me in the way that you're
And so why are you
over the
here?
internet. Have you guys got videos? Okay, this is what I look like. I'm just like showing you what I look like. So I live a very public existence. So I don't have anything to hide. You know.
Right.
So,
Okay, that's fine. So let's get back to the discussion.
I'm a little bit
Let's have
tired
an
because
actual
it's
discussion.
like, wow, it's 5:30 a.m. and I'm already awake.
Okay, that's fine. So
That's how excited. That's how excited I am about the
dear.
day.
Eric, do you
Yeah.
realize how rude it is to come into a hangout and completely take over a conversation that was already going on?
I don't know what you were talking about. I don't know
Yeah,
what
exactly. So shut up and listen, dude. And then maybe you'll
Yeah,
find
really.
out.
Okay, well, tell me, give me a summary then. What was the
Well, if you
argument
listen
about?
for
I just
5
don't
minutes,
want you
you'll
to
pick
go,
it
I don't
up,
want
man.
you guys to argue. I'm not taking over. Look, man, you can be in the YouTube app. Like, if somebody wants to take a break, I showed you guys that I'm playing you a really cool song. Becky muted me. I just wanted to show you guys this really cool new song, and it makes people just
Okay,
relax.
well, that's not what we're about. This
Yeah,
is
and
not
I'm
about
going to mute you
songs.
again.
Yeah,
Oh, somebody else
okay,
did it.
sorry.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
about
that's not what.
I just said you could
Hold
be
on,
in the
guys.
YouTube app and play it without actually.
But we're not
Eric's
here to
pretty
listen to
cool
your music.
Right.
I know Eric
My
for a while.
goodness.
He's like
Hey,
a
guys,
hangout junkie, man. Eric Law.
It's
He's
just
obvious
known
that
for
Evan
hanging out
used
like
a sniffer
constantly.
to find
God,
the
he
link
like
to
a
the
was
public
room to
hanging
get
out.
in.
hangout, dude. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know
like a
how he got
public
the link.
hangout.
No, it's
So,
not.
well,
A
that
public
there's
hangout.
the software to do it. So,
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, look.
well,
What I'm saying is,
Okay,
maybe
so
someone
I'm
gave
not
it to me.
trying.
Just
You know, I
trolling us.
piss a
So
lot of
just
I don't
people
know.
off,
I have a
turn
question.
and I'll say it now that.
Neff,
but
Neff, do you have
I
the
have a
control
question
bar?
for anyone.
mute me.
Control
But
bar.
what I'm saying is,
yeah, I do.
Can you
you're
mute a
letting
few people in here,
people.
please?
Well,
You're
Go
letting
back to the
people.
conversation
I'm
we
not
were
sure
having.
how to go about
Yeah,
doing that.
you're letting
I'm not real
people
familiar with.
You just have to
continue
click
to.
their. You just have to click their logo and hit mute.
Oh well, I
What the
did
fuck
that,
are you
and
talking
they
about,
got
fuckhead?
themselves unmuted somehow. It seems. I have muted
Go to
one
your
person.
toolbox, and you should have a toolbox or a
Yeah.
control.
Right.
I forget where it is, and you should be able to turn their volume all the way down.
Okay.
Jade,
Can
you're not thinking of Hangout Toolbox. Hangout Toolbox only.
No, I'm not
adjusts,
thinking of Hangout Toolbox. There is another way you can do it. If you
control
are
room.
running, yeah, it's in the control
Control
room.
Control room. Okay.
Try that.
You may or may not have it installed. I'm just looking.
Oh, it says it's only available in Hangouts on Air.
Yeah.
Okay, so it may not work.
For me, it works. Like I can show you what mine looks like.
Okay.
I mean, this is my Hangout toolbox. I'm just using like my. I'll show you what my Hangout toolbox looks like. I've got
Rick
everybody
left.
on like this control panel.
No, that means he can't get back in.
Can you see my screens or not? You
That
can
means you
actually,
can't get
I can
back in
actually
'cause he
control
blocked me.
everybody's.
Yeah, that and he was blocked by Nephy too.
Oh, that's great.
But now we have another problem.
well, no, he
Yeah.
won't realize that. He'll wonder why he can't get back in.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Hey,
I
if you
figured
guys like, I
you've
mean,
been
you
blocked.
know what
You've
I
either
always
blocked
say
or
is
been
that,
blocked by
like,
people in this call.
Yeah.
So what were you guys talking about? Can you guys please tell me what was the actual like discussion before I came? What was the discussion about before I came into the room? Can somebody please tell me? Because I don't want to. Is there anybody that can tell me what
Okay,
was
hang
discussed?
on, hang on.
Okay.
What we were doing is we were talking about transgender issues, specifically when it comes to having your penis cut off.
Oh my god.
So, do you have an opinion on this?
I think you should be financially independent, and you should have enough money within the country's healthcare system that you decide to go through that transition. I don't think you should do it without.
Oh, yeah, but how do you feel about the notion of having your penis cut off?
Where did Nephy go?
Well, my penis, no chance, dude.
Oh, dude.
I will probably kill. I will probably. If somebody tries to cut my penis off, I will really fight for my life.
I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, I think I
Neff got-
scared off Nephy.
Yeah, well, no, I think that it was just the frustration of trying to have a conversation. And...
All right, wait a minute. Can you?
No, actually, I'm talking to him. It was an accident.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to just hang tough? You guys chat with more on here. Just, we're gonna
Sorry,
work
can
something out.
anybody hear me?
I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
All right, no, I'm having mic issues here. That's why. I'm
Oh,
wondering.
okay.
And now that everyone's discovered the toolbox.
It seems to just
Yes.
be Skype that your mic screws up, and you've been pretty solid in here. I blame Skype for all things.
Yeah, that's true.
Skype
All right.
sucks.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I actually enjoyed talking to Neff before he left.
Yeah, I know, but then we got
And I was
sidetracked.
actually starting to understand something he was saying.
Then we got sidetracked by Numbskull, the guy who wants us to.
And
I'm
it's
sorry,
it is problematic on the language that he's using.
I'm sorry I lost
But
my
Jade-
temper, you guys.
Yeah?
That was just driving me nuts. I mean,
No,
listen,
no,
if
it's
you
all good. It's
listen-
all
that's
good.
okay.
Let him run around playing his. And don't play his definition. And don't try to play Ricky's little define everything
Oh
game.
my god, that was annoying.
And listen
man.
to Neff.
Yeah.
You can actually follow what he's saying.
yeah, Rick does that.
As
Rick
convoluted
does
as it
that
is.
every hangout. It's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's like, just leave it alone, dude. Nobody wants to talk about that tonight.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
what
have
is
to
Rick's
say,
like educational background?
I don't fucking know, nor do I care. All I know is that I thought that Matthew Bell was the most fucking annoying person I've
Well,
ever
I
spoken
do.
to, and I've changed my mind. He's now the second most annoying.
Yeah.
No, who's actually? So you think Rick is the most annoying person in the world?
Hold
At
on a
the
second.
moment.
We haven't talked to Nadia here in a while.
I didn't know it
What
was
is
a
she
contest.
thinking about what's going
I
on?
think Nadia's sleeping.
Yeah.
Sort
I
of.
already told Nadia that I think she
Oh,
should.
she's waving. She woke up now.
I already gave you my opinion on the matter about. I think we should get financially independent.
Nadia,
Before you consider taking on such enterprises, because it's a very expensive thing, and you need to be in the right country with the right healthcare system for these kind of things.
Nadia, I have to admit that I'm a horrible troll.
You are 13.
When Eric asked what the topic was after he just came in trying to show some video off, I kind of looked to you for advice for a fake topic.
Do this. Do you think, is this my left hand or is this my right hand? Can you see? Is this my left arm or is this my right arm?
Oh, I don't know, but you know, don't really care.
I don't like people that are. Did you say that? Oh, right. I think we can get along, man. As long as you didn't say you cared.
Okay.
Okay, everybody perk up.
So do you know if
and-
Nephy's coming back in, or?
No, he's not.
Ah,
You can... Hey, just hang tough, hang tough. Share.
I mean, we had massive gish gallop there, but you know, it'd be nice to be able to pick these points apart one at a time without the
Sure.
machine gun approach.
But I do.
Check your Google Plus pages.
And your microphone sounds like you've got this like. Have you got this desktop microphone or is it like a phone mic? What kind of microphone?
Back to that.
I'm using this microphone here at the moment. Can you see it? Actually,
Got it.
Oh, it's quite a nice microphone. This is actually a vocal process.
That was terrible, man. I couldn't even follow. Who, who was speaking and who wasn't. I didn't even know what you guys were talking about at the
Yeah.
end there.
I really that random guy that got into the hangout. I don't even know how that was trying to just play his music. I trolled him hard. I was kind of mean.
You know, I mean, you come to a debate, discussion about these kinds of things, and then you want to carry on about your music playlist. I mean,
Oh, I
come
know.
on.
Well, he said, well, what were you actually discussing? And I said, oh, we're talking about LBGT issues. We're specifically talking about the sensation of having your penis cut off. Just to be obnoxious. And I'm thinking, okay, let's see how he responds to this. And he didn't leave the room. I'm like, man, I thought that would have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
this
discussing.
is a wild night, isn't it?
We're discussing the various flavors of vomit around the world.
Yeah, you know.
I have never lost my temper in a chat in my life.
You have now.
And now, I've popped my anger cherry on Google Hangout. That was so ridiculous, man. What is going on with the world, you know?
I don't know. We've got Mr. Define every word in the dictionary and Mr. I am stoned out of my skull in the same hangout.
Which arm is this, my right or my left? I don't care.
I know, that was just like...
Well, I can just see him in the audience at a debate between, say, a Christian scientist and an atheist scientist, and stands up in the audience and slurs his speech is terribly slurred, and he says, "Hey, man, by the way, you gotta get this new app."
Oh, and by the way, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, man.
Oh, my
Just
word.
really, really annoying. Unbelievably.
Yes, I just think we finally found something we could agree on.
I know.
I
know. Whatever his name was, bringing atheists and Christians together.
Yep.
Yeah, really.
Oy vey. Yes. And the joint cause of... Duh. Yeah.
Hey, 13, did you change your logo earlier to something like freelance vigilante?
Yeah, G-Man, because he wanted to make room for Ronnie. He's like,
okay.
oh, I'm waiting for Ronnie, so he boots me out of the hangout without realizing that it bans me from returning. So then when he's like, oh, man, come back, I'm like, you booted me. I can't. He's like, yeah, sure you can. I'm like, here's the error message. He's like, dude, come in with a sock. I'm like, actually, I kind of have one of those.
I was like, because I was thinking, if 13 is trying to cover up his identity, he's not doing a very good job. That is exactly what his voice sounds like, and he has a very unique voice. 13 actually.
Let's see now. Hang on, let me try something here.
I thought you were trying to be tricky. I was like, no, he's not doing a very good job.
Hang on, give me a second. Let's see if I can get this damn program to load now. Come on. There we go.
Just don't show us your latest music video.
Why would I do that?
Well, like that other guy wanted to watch a music video.
Either True Empiricism is a super hacker, or somebody sent him the link.
I'm sure you sent the link.
For the other chat hangout, the one that I closed by accident. Is that what you mean?
No, this one. And the weird thing about it, unlike a Skype call,
he's here again.
No, he's not.
No. True Empiricism's here. He's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, cool in his way.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know what you.
Ronnie's okay.
He's cool for a Christian.
Yeah.
On that note, I mean, Neff, I appreciate that you have a sense of humor about when the 2 calls ago when I said that I was telling that guy this, and you don't get how this works. We let Neff say what he's going to say, and then we all gang up on him. Like,
yeah,
you didn't even.
Yeah, at least Ronnie never asked us what arm he's holding up on a chat. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like that, you just want to tell them, hey, if you hold your arms above your head long enough, you'll see stars. Go try it. Go check it out, man.
Hey, does my voice modulation software work through Google Plus?
Okay.
Anyway, where were we? We were on.
I was just trying to figure out if my voice modulation software works through Google Plus.
Oh.
Well, I have a question then for atheists. If it seems that atheists argue that everything that is caused by or is a product of materialistic cause. All things are explainable by materialism. And I hear a lot of atheists lately say, well, I'm not a materialist. Well, I don't understand that. How can you be not be a materialist and be atheist? It doesn't work for me, but atheists do argue for naturalistic material causes for everything, including organic life, the origin of the universe, and everything. But I would say to you that materialism has failed because of the existence of immaterial things, such as information, algorithms. These are abstract constructs of mind, and a lot of other things. So if I would argue, I would ask, if it were true, if it could be true, that we are just a product of naturalistic causes, how is it that we possess that there's so much evidence that we possess an immaterial component, which I would call spirit, but could also be called mind, and there's evidence for this immaterial
hang on,
component.
Hang on. Here's kind of the thing. What'll happen is you present one question, and then you start moving on to a second and a third. And could you try to keep it one at a time and
Okay.
make them more concise, please?
Okay. So, well, if materialism is true, then why is it that we have so much evidence for an immaterial component in human beings, evidenced by things like the placebo effect, like the process of intending or attending, the personal qualia, the observance of the passing of time, the recognition of beauty, for example, the persistence of self-identity, personal intentions.
The problem, sorry, Neff, sorry to interrupt you, man, but the problem is that the explanation for each one of those are different. Like, some of them can be explained by some aspects of science, and some can be explained by other aspects of science. So, if you could just stick to one immaterial thing, and maybe we can start.
There's also the secondary thing that some of these immaterial things that you're referring to as being merely a product of mind are simply constructs and way that we define and explain the world around ourselves, or quantify things in terms of, numbers, for example, and this kind of thing.
Right, and so you touched upon it when you said we. Why should you use the word we? In a materialistic universe, you shouldn't have any sense of